Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with a review of AUKEY's 35-watt wireless speaker, which has got a whole lot of power. It's got 35 watts, it's dedicated to 3 speakers. It's got 2 main drivers that are 52 millimeters apiece and they're 10 watts each. And then it's got one dedicated 78 millimeter woofer, so you get the extra bass, and of course with the max bass technology that has built into it as well, it puts out a whole lot of bass. So this speaker is a little bit different than some of the other ones I've looked at. Recently, the trend seems to be, let's make it look more rugged, let's make it look more durable, let's make it waterproof. This one has a little bit more of a sense of class and sophistication, and it looks like something, more apt to put on a desk at your office or the coffee table at home. It's a little bit more refined, it's a little bit more polished, rounded around the edges, and it looks, shiny and more reminiscent of like a 1990 speaker or 2000 speaker, but in today's day and age with today's technology. So I already have it paired with my phone, but it's very simple. The first time you turn it on, it's already going to be in pair mode, so you can see it. It'll pull up as AUKEY on there. It'll show up as SK-M33. It doesn't have a dedicated pairing button. What you have to do is you have to you have to turn it off, and when you turn it on, you hold down the power key for about 2 or 3 seconds, and then the blue light here will start flashing, which will indicate it's in pair mode. The mode button, it took me a while to figure this out, but there's nothing on it in the manual, which drove me crazy, and I looked online, I couldn't find anything. What it does is it switches back and forth between Bluetooth mode and the 3.5 millimeter direct input on the back. So if you're connected and you're playing on Bluetooth, you hit this button if you've got another signal source on the headphone jack, and it'll switch over. You've got your traditional back and forward skip buttons, as well as your play, pause, answer the phone button, which is cool because it's got the built-in microphone, so you can have your nice speakerphone chats. And then you've got your plus and minus for your up and down on the volume. And the buttons are actually fairly plasticky. You can see here they've got a nice gloss to them, which contrasts well with this more flat finished plastic on the top. And then of course, it's got the metal housing shroud that goes around it for the speakers and the chassis for the actual speaker setup itself. So it's got some nice heft to it. Definitely don't push in on it too hard, because with this wire mesh you'll end up denting it in or warping it, so don't do that. It's not overly delicate, but it is nice, and it's more refined and it's classy. It's definitely not rugged. It's not waterproof at all, so don't take this one near the swimming pool. Definitely leave it indoors. But all in all, it has good sound. It's got Bluetooth 4.2. Oddly enough, it only goes up to 33 feet of connectivity range, which some of the other 4.2 stuff that I've seen lately is 66 feet. So I don't know what happened there, but this one says it's advertised at 33 feet of connectivity. Like I said, 2 10-watt speakers and one 15-watt woofer. It's regular charge. It doesn't do quick charge, so it takes 8 hours to charge this sucker. But it does have dual 4,000 milliamp batteries in it for a total of 8,000 milliamps of battery, which is pretty fancy because it boasts 18 hours of playtime with 50% volume, which is really good. It'll play for a really long time. And it comes in at 2.98, so round up to 3 pounds. So like I said, it does have a little bit of weight to it, especially because of that 15-watt woofer that's in there that kicks out the extra bass, which is notable. Now, one other cool thing is that it actually comes with, it comes with a very short micro USB charging cable. Of course, it doesn't have a wireless charge. It doesn't have a charging base with it, which is typical of pretty much every speaker I've seen in the last several years. But they do go ahead and include a 3.5 millimeter line-in cord, which is cool, so you can connect it from your phone if you've got a headphone jack straight into your speaker, which is particularly beneficial if you have a LG phone because of the 32-bit quad DAC that it has, so you can take advantage of that because it doesn't work over Bluetooth. Now I'll go ahead and show you the back of the speaker here. So on the back, you've got your audio in, which is where you use that 3.5 millimeter cable. You've got your charging port here, which is the micro USB, and then you have a USB out. So you can use this to charge other devices. Now, of course, it's not quick charge either, so it's going to take a little bit longer to charge your whatever you connect to it, whether it's a phone, an iPod if you have one of those still, or any other media player, whatever you plug in here that supports a USB charging cable. It's going to charge slowly, but it does have all that extra battery power in here, so you can charge it and top it off while you're listening to your tunes, which is pretty cool. So, like I said, all in all, it's very classy. It's got the plastic molding here that matches the plastic buttons on the top. As far as class and sophistication, I definitely give this one a couple extra points up over some of the more common ones you see nowadays, just because they all kind of have that same typical rugged, outdoorsy kind of look, especially with the waterproofing and the water resistance that they're putting in them nowadays. So this one, straight up class, sophistication, professional, cranks up the volume, has great audio, and really this sucker is loud. Now, it does lose a little bit in the point category for me as far as clarity. They definitely boost the power more than the clarity and the overall performance as far as audio aesthetics whenever you're listening to it. Now, it does sound good, and I'm going to do a demonstration here in a second. You're going to hear it. It sounds really good, but as you go up with the volume, you go up with the bass kind of overpowers it a little bit to the point to where, you know, some of the fine tuning and the specifics, especially on some of the higher notes and the vocals, it'll get drowned out a little bit just because of the amount of power that this thing puts out, which, you know, depending on your listening style, can be a good thing. It's not necessarily the number one in my playbook for things that I would choose. There are some other speakers that I've listened to that really accentuate some of the finer sounds and the vocals, which is really important for me with clarity at the high end. But this more than makes up for it in the power department if that's what you care for in a speaker. So I already have it paired. I'm going to go ahead and turn some music on. I'll go ahead and start with the volume low, because this one, even on low, and when you get all the way down, it makes this noise. I'll turn it up real quick. I'll turn all the way up to the top, and you'll hear what it sounds like once you get there. It makes the same sound. So you'll know whenever you hit the max volume or the minimum volume. So we'll start off with the lowest volume possible, so you can, one, still hear me, and two, we'll work our way up. So let me find a good song to start with. Let's see, I was listening to Evans Blue, which they've got some pretty good music. There we go. So this is on the lowest setting. I'll go ahead and put my microphone over here. Alright, so we're going to turn the volume up now so we get the full force and effect of the AUKEY 35W speaker.
Do you think that you can lose yourself in me? I could say I want to die by your side one day.
Max volume.
But I can never speak the words because they haven't rolled the words that mean enough to me. So together we can burn this way, burn this way. Stop!
Alright, so I've got it turned back down now, but you could hear it has a lot of power. It really cranks out the mids, it cranks out the bass. Whenever it's at the lower volume setting, you can really hear the vocals a lot better, and then it kind of switches over from vocal band to bass band and emphasizes those lows and the power driver for that woofer whenever you get to about the 60% volume range. So as you work your way through the power spectrum, it kind of flips a switch. Now you can notice that you still get really good sound, you get a lot of power, and the vocals are clear, but the emphasis switches, and it's not so much on the dynamic audio in the vocals and the higher end instruments. It switches over more. You've got that mid volume support and also the bass. So overall, and I wanted to leave it playing in the background so you can kind of hear some of it as well and not just listening to me talk for a long time. Now I'll find another song, and I'll find something that'll really kind of accent the sound palette that that the speaker is good for. Let me go to my favorites. Sorry, can't see what's going on behind the curtain right now. Let me find something good. Here we go. Final Countdown. That's a good one. Europe. It's always a classic. Actually, We'll do Jump by Van Halen instead. That was a live version. This will have better sound. So the synthesizer is really good on this. Let's turn it back up. So I don't know if you really paid attention to that, but you can hear like the bass, it rings. It's really solid, it's really loud. And also the synthesizers, they're going really good too, but the voice, you know, whenever the vocals kick in, it's like at 85%, while the rest of the instruments on the bass and the synthesizers and all the digital stuff is at 100 or even 110%. And you can really hear it kicks really well, especially with that dedicated 15-watt woofer. Now I'm going to play one more song here you can hear real quick. It's by INXS. It's got solid, hard-hitting bass with a really good mixture of some drums and some vocals and some of the higher-end instruments. So we'll listen to that. Last song. Turn the volume back up. There we go.
All you got is this moment. 21st century's yesterday. You can care all you want. Everybody does, yeah, that's okay. So slide over here and give me a moment. Your moves are so raw. I've got to let you know.
All right. So with this one, like I said, you can hear it's got the really solid bass on the bottom side, but it's also got really good vocals that stand out, and that's because there's not so much going on. Whenever you got that power-driven bass, you've got more modern songs, some hip-hop, some rap, R&B, any of that stuff, or some really solid rock. It kind of drowns out the vocals to where it takes the power down a notch. But you can see on this one, it's a little bit more clear because the sounds in each spectrum are more isolated. So this song also focuses a lot on vocals. So you can get a really good balance depending on the songs that you're listening to, and also the clarity and the kilobits per second on the audio, of course. The higher end audio you listen to, you're going to have more clear audio, you're going to have better sound, better vocals. But of course, what I've demonstrated and played here tonight is over CD quality audio, so it's typically what you're going to get when you listen to any sort of streaming audio service. But the balance is good, it sounds good, the power is there. It's the most power I've gotten out of any speaker that I've tested out so far. With 35 watts is exceptional, especially being able to listen for 18 hours straight at 50% volume, so that's really good. Anyway, that's about all I got for the AUKEY 35-watt wireless speaker. You go and check out, I've got more pictures and information and the full review and the drop down that I've got. You can pick one of these up for $79.99 on Amazon. Of course, it qualifies for the Amazon Prime 2-day shipping. And the speaker is lonely. So, like I said, the music is good, great audio quality. I've thoroughly enjoyed testing out the speaker. Hopefully this demo was helpful for you so you can get a good feel for it. I've also used this new microphone that I've got, so hopefully the sound translated over really well into the recording so you can hear it and kind of get a good feel for some of the power and the vocals and the overall quality that this speaker has to offer. So as always, thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in and watching my videos, and as always, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.